exercise 9, we are going to be looking at the stairs today. So let's just dive right in. There are kind of two parts to your stairs. There will be the actual run of stairs. Whoops, wrong one. So if we come look at this, let me get my default tray back up here. So this is what we're modeling today. So there are basically these two parts. There's one, this bottom part is kind of these built-ins, and then the second part is more of just like a straight run. So that might help you kind of keep organized, just kind of realizing that there are kind of these two separate pieces. So we're going to start by creating a new tag called stairs and to make it the active tag. And it'll be helpful for you as we go through this exercise to have your DWG layer on because we're going to be tracing some of these items. Turn everything back on. Okay, so here's my copy for today. Oh, and I need to copy these DWGs over here as well. Alright, let me just start over with this so that it's all lined up. And get rid of that guy. Okay. So this is what your model basically is going to look like. You should have all your windows and the rest of your doors in here, but here's where we're at so far with our model. So you're going to create a new tag called stairs. I've already created one, but just in case you forgot, you pull up your default tray over here on the right. Under the tags panel, click on the plus sign, and then just create your new tag here called stairs. And then you are going to click on the right side to make it the active tag and move that little pencil down. So since it's the active tag, anything that we model from here on out will be on that stairs tag. So we're going to start by drawing a vertical line at the corner of your interior walls that is 9 foot tall. So I tried to give a little screenshot here of what that looks like. It's going to be basically at this corner here where those two parts that we talked about, the more like built-in for the living room, meet this run upstairs here. So we're going to start at this corner here. And we are going to choose our line tool, and we're on the stairs tag, awesome. And I'm not in any other group yet, I'm just kind of in the main model here. So I'm going to start at that corner and bring it up 9 feet, type in 9 foot and hit enter. And that 9 feet should be at the height of your second floor. Our second floor should be at 9 foot. And then our next step is, you can turn off different tags if that's helpful for you. I'll probably have to just so that I can see in here a little bit better. But according to the DWG, you'll have 8 total steps, which equals 9 risers. So we are going to divide the line that we just made into 9 equal segments. And so since it's a 9 foot tall line, each of those segments is going to be 1 foot. And then we're going to create a group. So, yeah, let me go ahead and turn off those exterior walls. So you can see a little bit better now. Okay, so my line here, I right click and hit divide. And then that should bring up these red dots that are letting you divide your line into equal segments. And so if you just keep kind of pulling down, I'm not clicked on anything, it'll tell you how many segments it's being divided by and how long each of those segments is. So I've brought it down where it says 9 segments, length is 1 foot, and so I'll just click to finish. And now I should have individual segments. Might be kind of hard to see the highlight of blue. It's just getting those each individual segments. And then I'm going to grab all of those segments and right click and make a group. And now I'm going to double click into that group, and everything that I modeled now is just going to be in this group, just for my own organization. I like it all to be kept together. Okay, so second step, or I'm sorry, now we're on the third step. We're going to create horizontal guidelines at each of those division points, and then vertical guidelines at the stair treads. And so for the vertical lines, it might be a little bit easier to use that second floor DWG because those are showing you each of the little stair treads. So let's go take a look at that. I'm still inside of my group here, and I'm just going to start creating grid lines. So the first ones that I'm doing are just going to be horizontal, straight across at each of the division points that we just made. So essentially 1 foot stacked on top of each other. So I'll grab my tape measurement tool, and I'm just going to grab along this bottom edge here, click once and start pulling up. And since we know it's 1 foot, you can either type in your 1 foot, or I can start to hover over this line that we made with the individual segments, and it will snap to those division points that we made. So I can just do that as well. And then I'll click to finish. And then I'll just keep on doing that, bringing up along that line, snapped to 2 feet now. You can do it that way if you want, or you can just keep copying your grid lines 1 foot above each other, whichever way is best for you. And there I am. Got it up to the 8 foot mark. I'm not sure if we'll need the 9 foot mark, but I'll go ahead and bring it up to there. So now I have my horizontal grid lines, and then I'm going to do my vertical grid lines for these this run of stairs here. So it should be in line with this edge of your interior wall. So I still have my tape measurement tool. I'm just going to click on that edge and start bringing it over. And then here, you should be able to hover over that intersection of where that stair tread is. And SketchUp should snap for it, tell you it's an intersection, and then you can just click to finish that one. And then we'll do the same thing. Just keep bringing them over, find that intersection, and click. So just do that for the rest of these stairs here. Edge. And let's see, did I say anything else? Copy 1 extra vertical grid line at the top of the stairs. We'll use it in step 5. And so what I mean by that, just grab the last grid line that we made. So for instance, this one lines up with the edge of the second floor. I'm just going to copy that 1 extra tread length. So I have it selected. I'll use my move tool and hit Control for copy. And then I'm just going to start at this grid line that I made here and bring it to that other grid line, and that should copy it the same distance away as your other grid lines. Okay. Step number 4. Everyone with me so far? trace along the built-in seating and the curved stair from the DWG import, so that'll be on the first floor. And then we'll extrude the curved stair up to the first guideline, and then the built-ins extrude up to the second guideline, and then we'll draw the remaining stair profile for the run. So what we're looking at here is we're basically just going to trace these built-ins here. And I'm just going to do the outside lines. I'm not really worrying about the cushions and all that kind of stuff right now for today's exercise. So you can start wherever you'd like. I'm just going to start in this back corner and just trace along these outside lines. Making sure everything is nice and straight. Everything should be along either the red or the green axes. And then once you make it back to your starting point, it will make a surface. And then to do this little curved stair here, I'm going to grab the 2-point arc tool. And you just start at one end of this arc, so I'll just grab this end here, and then click on the second point of the arc, and then I'll just pull it out until it meets the curve of the DWG. And that should also create a surface for you. So then we are going to use the push-pull tool. This first stair, we are going to extrude up and make it meet this first guideline. So if you just start to hover over that guideline, the top of your stair should start to meet that guideline. And then just click to finish. And then for our built-ins, we are going to do the same thing, but bring it up to this second guideline that we made. So I will click once, start to raise it up, and then start to, it's telling me that it was offset to only 1 foot. Sometimes SketchUp does that if, I think it has to do with that stickiness that we've talked about, where objects kind of want to touch each other and kind of stick to each other. So that's no problem. If it'll only let me go 1 foot, then I'll just click and let it be at the 1 foot. And then let's try again to continue pulling it up, and now it'll let me. Sometimes SketchUp has those little quirks like that.
Is the arched piece, is it the extrusion to 1 foot?
Yes. Yeah, 1 foot, which should be at your first guideline. And then that built-in piece we brought up to the second guideline, which should be at 2 feet. And then I'm just going to erase these little extra lines that were created, just so it's a little bit cleaner. So these are essentially your first and second stairs. A little funny the way that this is done. These built-ins are also kind of like the seating, so I guess you're just going to have to step over your friends that are sitting there if you're trying to get upstairs. I didn't design this house. Okay, and then we're going to trace, just kind of draw the rest of your stair run here. So I'm going to grab my pencil tool, and then we'll just start going up and over to draw kind of like the profile of the stairs. So I'll start right here where we would want that third step to start. And so I'll go up to that third grid line and then bring it over to that vertical guideline. And that should be the depth of one of my treads. And then the first line we created would be the height of your riser. And I'll just keep going like that, bring it up to the next horizontal guideline, and then over to create your next tread. Just keep going up and over. until you get to this point, the underside of your floor slab. Because if we created another stair here, if we came up to the 9 feet, that essentially is your final stair, the floor slab. So then you should have a nice little stair profile like this, using our guidelines. Okay, now we're going to create a diagonal line that begins at this division point here, which would have been after the first segment. And we're going to connect it up to this point here, which is why we created that additional guideline, so that we could extend the underside of the stairs across. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to understand as we're doing it. So I'm going to start it right here, is where the directions were telling you to. So if we think back to our original vertical line that we made, this should have been that first division point. So I'll start my line there. And then we want to bring it up to this point. And something that I just realized, yours might not have this little diagonal part yet. I think that's something that I was doing as I was writing the assignment, and then I forgot to put it back. So if yours has a little portion here, or I'm sorry, no, the portion should be right here. So let me fix mine real quick to make it look like yours. I believe, oops, it's not really great. I think yours looks more like that. What is going on there? What a mess. Alright. Nothing we can't clean. Okay, does that look more similar to your guys's now?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry for that little detour. Back to the stairs. Okay, creating the diagonal line. So we started at this point here, and we're going to end it at the underside of your second floor and over to that last grid line that we copied over. So create that diagonal line, and that probably didn't create a surface yet, so you just need to bring it back to where we ended that final stair tread. And that didn't create a surface either. Let's see what's going on. This is a terrible live demo. Something looks funny. Didn't get my grid lines quite right. So let me try a different approach. This should come all the way back to this point. Oh, but that's not even. Looks like my grid line here didn't quite get lined up with the surface. So I'm just going to grab it and make sure that it's in line with that. That's how funny things happen when you don't have things exactly lined up. So let's try that again now. Bring my diagonal line up to this intersection. There we go. So if yours doesn't create a surface whenever you try and create all those lines, you probably just have something a little off axis, not quite in line like mine was. Let me just erase that extra line there. And then we're going to use the push-pull tool and extrude the stairs to meet the exterior wall. And so that should be at this line here. You won't be able to see your exterior walls very well if you've got them turned off like I do. But it should be at this point here where we had drawn our built-ins. I'm just going to grab this and start pulling it over. And if I just start hovering over the edge of my built-ins, it should snap and align. And now I've got a little staircase. Let's see here. Oh, yes.
When I click on like one thing, and then that covers everything.
You need a surface for me.
Okay, and then step 7. Within your interior walls group, and you'll now want your interior walls to be the active tag, we're going to close that opening between the wall and the underside of the stairs. So this little area is open right now, and we just want to close that off so that it's a wall as we're going up the stairs. So, one, I should have closed that one. Okay, so this little area here, we want to close that off because right now it's just open, but let's get a wall. So go out of your stair group if you created a group, and we are going to go into our interior walls group. And I'm also going to make interior walls my active tag, since I'm working on that now. And I'm going to turn off my floors, I think, so I can see a little bit better here. Okay. So essentially what we want to do is close off this gap here. And so in order to do that, I think I'll just follow this diagonal of the stairs that I created and close off this whole area. So I'll grab my pencil tool. Going to start at this corner and bring it down to where that diagonal line is. And then I'll trace along that diagonal to bring it down here. And that did not create a surface, which I was hoping it would. Oh, there it went. I just had to finish out my lines. And now I'm lost inside of there. So that should bring you a surface there. And then use your push-pull tool. Oops. Stop that. Push-pull tool to bring this to the edge. I had some funky modeling going on. Just make sure all of this is closed. There we go. So I should close off everything there, and I'm just going to erase some of these extra lines so that everything is nice and clean. Bring it to this side. And there you go. Then you should have your wall all closed up. And I just have that flush with the underside of the stair that we created. This way we'll be able to kind of, in this bedroom on the first floor, still use some of this area rather than just blocking it off with the entire stair. Create a little closet or something later. Okay, let me get back out of all of that. I believe I missed this on an earlier step. You can go ahead and erase these guidelines. You can either erase them all individually, or you can, if you know that you want to erase all of your guidelines in your model, you can come up to Edit, I believe. Yep, and then delete guides. That will get rid of all the guidelines in your model if you found yourself with a bunch of guidelines. Okay, let me turn some things back on. And so essentially you should now have your stair created. And then I did add here at the end, you can add some stair nosings, you can create some storage underneath the built-ins, make a handrail, or if this already felt pretty challenging for you, you can just stop here if this was a lot. My other example that I have over here, I'm going to turn off exterior walls again, and these doors, and these windows. So I just went in here and kind of made it a little bit fancier. Got some open storage, maybe some drawers, and then I created these little stair nosings to just make it look a little bit nicer. Got a handrail in there, so it's up to you if you want to play around with it. Keep doing some more to your stairs. But like I said, if creating these stairs is challenge enough, then you can just stop here.